Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to be doing my Voyant project on two different articles. One article is Summer Climate's Impact Hit Hard from the Climate Reality Project. The Climate Reality Project is an online database that publishes articles and advocates for people to understand the reality of climate change and to kind of fight against it. And the other article I'm going to be cross-examining with it is an article from the Climate Depot, which is kind of a similar database, but rather than trying to find scientific data on climate change, it tries to deny that climate change is a real thing. And that article is Extreme Heat Isn't Accelerating Aging and It's Not Getting Worse. Now, I know that the readings that we have been doing have been looking at distance reading in association with genre studies or literary analysis, but I also think this is particularly useful for discourse analysis. This is based on a project I did last semester, and I wanted to see how the computer could find things that I couldn't find or how it accelerates the process. Um, I'm just finding this now that the Voyant kind of did what I did all semester in just one day. So, to begin, summer's climate impact, we see words like water, climate, temperature, heat, all words that we would usually strongly associate with climate science. They're very concrete ideas. And if we go to the other article by the Climate Depot, we also see similar words, of course, like heat and climate, but we also see words that we wouldn't necessarily, of course, associate with scientific articles, such as YouTube or Yahoo. Uh, Sources is also a frequently used word. Now, if we go ahead and switch, because I did three Voyant projects, I did one for each article, and then I uploaded them both to the same one just so to do some cross analysis. It's quite interesting to see they do have shared words, but the difference in frequency that they are used, since they're two articles seemingly on the same subject of heat. It's just the difference of one suggesting that heat is not accelerating and the other one is suggesting that heat temperatures are rising. Whereas we see heat as one of the most frequently used words, the Climate Depot uses it more. They seem to use other words such as like I mentioned, Yahoo or YouTube frequently as well, because one thing that you don't necessarily get from these kinds of um, analysis is actually reading it, which I think is really important. I don't necessarily agree that we should stop reading books, is the context in which these words are used. I know you see it somewhat here, but I think reading the entirety of the article really is very formative because when you're reading it, the Climate Depot uses a lot of words like bad science or crazy radical leftists, which you don't necessarily see in these word groups because they're only used once or twice, but are very important to the overall analysis of the article. And whereas in the Climate Reality Project, you don't ever see them addressing the opponents. They never talk about people who don't believe in climate change are liars or bad scientists. So I think even the singular words rely have heavy importance. Now, if we go ahead and switch back to the original article that I was looking at, I'm gonna go ahead and blow this up so we can see it a little bit closer. It's kind of interesting that although the article is about heat, towards the end of the article, they mention it quite less. And then water is um, mentioned closer to the end of the article. And if you don't read the actual article, you might not understand why that is. It's because in the beginning of the article, they're talking about why how heat is impacting the world globally and how, in the end, it is ultimately affecting our water supplies and the oceans and the ecosystems. So I think this is a good tool to get like surface level data, as we saw in some other things like the increase of the word the in Gothic studies. But I think it needs to be used in association with close reading as well, not just distance reading. As well, we can go ahead and look at the other article as well. Blow it up. So here I didn't use any stop words because I thought it was interesting, or not interesting, but for smaller articles